I know I'm a couple days late, but it is time that I weigh in into this Life of a Showgirl discourse. I'm ready. So, I think that Taylor Swift's latest album, Life of a Showgirl, is a case study in a in narcissism and a total collapse of empathy. I'm going to break this down into 3 central themes, okay? I took some time to look at this record, and I actually am pissed that I had to spend as much time as I did with it. But anyway, first, male dependency, absence of self-identity, and narcissistic mirroring. Two, perpetual victimhood, pathological self-involvement resulting in a total lack of empathy. And 3, rationalization, awareness, and indulgence in casual cruelty, which all builds into what I would describe as the moral nadir of her career, this nasty ass actually romantic song. So let's fucking go. Let's start off with the narcissistic mirroring and the loss of self-identity, and having your identity totally based on the men that she dates, okay? So first of all, she opens this up with Fate of Ophelia, and we might as well start right there. She's talking about the whole theme of the whole song is how she's being saved from drowning, from breaking up with a man by another man, and there is no sort of personal agency. And also she, by the way, is flattening the Ophelia character massively and missing kind of the point of the whole play, which betrays a level of illiteracy that becomes even more apparent on Actually Romantic, but we will get there. But I think something that people need to understand is that her identity shifts based on the men that she dates. Joe Alwyn is I don't know these fucking people, obviously, but he strikes me as a very intellectual, deep, emotionally complex man. And as a result, while he was her muse, her lyrics were some of the most emotionally complex, deep-rooted, reflective of her entire career. I mean, it's during her time with Joe Alwyn that we got Peace, we got, it was the dissolution of their relationship that produced You're On Your Own, Kid. It was, we're talking Hoax, we're talking Evermore, some of her absolute career heights. But now that she's with this brain-damaged CTE victim, she's, and I agree with the whole point that everybody's making, saying that she's got sexually transmitted CTE. But the point is, the reason why this is happening is because this girl don't know who the fuck she is. She has no idea who she is, and she only has her identity based on the men that she is dating, okay? I also want to comment on the song Opalite, because I happen to be a crystal girly, okay? I'm wearing crystals to prove it, okay? It is very funny to me that she's talking about a room trading onyx nights for Opalite. You know, onyx, what does onyx represent? Protection, grounding, safety. And what does Opalite represent? I don't know, nothing. Because it's fake. It's fake. It's not a real stone. It doesn't have any power because it's man-made and synthesized. So she is literally consciously trading something real and grounded and perhaps more difficult to handle for something fake and vapid and empty, because that is at the end of the day who she is deep down. Yeah. I found the song Eldest Daughter to be profoundly disappointing because the promise of that song is something deep and poetic. I thought we were going to get another You're On Your Own, Kid, but instead we got this cringe, millennial slang laden, trash ass, low-key microaggressive, nonsensical, self-indulgent babble about how she's never gonna break that now. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous and it's pathetic. And it's shockingly banal compared to the work that we're used to. But at the end of the day, I don't think that the depth that she was displaying on Folklore and Evermore was really hers. I think it was borrowed from Joe. And I know that's gonna really piss some people off, saying I'm attributing all of her hard work to a man. Nah, but he's her muse, girl. She's a mirror. She's just reflecting when she's around. And that's that. Next, let's talk about the self-involvement and perpetual victimhood that is on display on this record. Let's start off with the casual materialism, okay? We are living in an incredibly fraught time. People don't know where they're going to get their next paycheck from. People are wondering about food, wondering about their needs. There's incredible political violence going on, instability going on everywhere. But yet in this moment, Taylor Swift is choosing to flex her wealth and lean into what I would describe as trad wife values, talking about, oh, I want to have a whole block looking like you, and talking about trade Cartier for trust, just kidding. Really, it's so like disconnected from this social moment. And it just shows how little this woman is able to look past herself. I think that that sense of perpetual victimhood is perpetuated by that song Canceled, and it just shows me, to me, because the thing is, the whole song is like, good thing I like my friends canceled. They have the same scars, whatever it is that she says. It means that it tells me something. This girl is in an echo chamber. She's an echo chamber of women who see themselves as victims, who are unable to take accountability for their actions, and who are constantly telling each other that the world is against them, despite the fact that they have immense wealth and power that gives them superior, like, power and over people who are less fortunate than they are. Okay. And there is no responsibility with that at all. I think this is also reinforced by the themes in Honey, which she talks about, like, how honey was once an insult, but now is like some form of like male validation. Again, that shows a lack of self-respect and like a lack of boundaries around that. It's not that I'm like against people falling in love and writing music about love, but there is this certain erasure of a self-identity that I see throughout. But the only identity that she really has is a victim, which she talks about in the song. She's always the wrong woman. She's always a victimized person. And that cycle of feeling yourself as a victim is what peaks in the cruelty that we see next. I'm not gonna lie, actually Romantic, to be honest, for me, is the absolute moral nadir of her career. Okay? Like, it's actually wild. I want to lighten it up a little bit by showing you guys a real-time photo of myself listening to the song for the first time. I was disgusted. I was sick, okay? But all jokes aside, Charlie XCX's Sympathy is a Knife is not a diss track against Taylor Swift. It is a meditation and an incredibly vulnerable song about feelings of jealousy, comparison, shame, and self-loathing, culminating in SI, that she shared as a moment of vulnerability where a lot of women felt very much seen in that track. But because this woman is totally unable to decenter herself in a narrative, she saw what the message of Sympathy is a Knife is as an insult, which is really, really, really indicative of how little empathy she has as a human being. She's totally unable to see past her own victimization, like this idea of her being a victim, and is casting herself as the bullied victim of a quote unquote cool girl, even though Taylor Swift is literally the most powerful pop star on the planet. And Charlie just got into a place in her life where she was getting the recognition that she has long deserved. She totally ignores the power imbalance and acts completely irresponsibly. And it is actually one of the worst things, by far, that I've noticed. And it really confirms some of the worst feelings and thoughts I've had about Taylor Swift because as someone who's been like somewhat what I would describe as a casual fan of hers for the past maybe 20 years or so. Okay. And that leads me into my next major point, which is this indulgence in cruelty and the once preyed upon becoming the predator. I found that song Father Figure to be incredibly sinister. I'm honest, because it reminds me a lot of Last Great American Dynasty. In case people are wondering, like, is this the same girl who wrote Folklore? It definitely is. It definitely is, because she uses the same storytelling motif that she did in Last Great American Dynasty, where first she's talking about being preyed upon by Scott Borchetta as a young girl and being used and exploited by the industry. But then after it, she talks about how she, defeats him and he's sleeping with the fishes. And there's a certain joy in in his total destruction. But then it moves into what I really perceive to be maybe her trying to son Olivia Rodrigo, or a veiled threat against Sabrina Carpenter. Like, if you ever dare go against me, you're going to end up sleeping with the fishes like that guy did. That's what I saw it as. I mean, seriously. So the abused has now become the abuser, and the cycle of trauma continues. And I want to say, I really think that Sabrina should be careful with her, honestly, because at the end of the day, on that nasty ass flop song Wood, she is attempting to reheat Sabrina's nachos and steal her witty tongue-in-cheek eroticism. And she's doing it completely unsuccessfully. And I just want to tell you, historically, women who have something that Taylor Swift wants but cannot have, usually do not fare well with her. I'm just going to be honest with you. I would say, for instance, Katy Perry, she was very jealous of her career and also very jealous of her relationship with John Mayer. Olivia Rodrigo, I think she's jealous of the fact that she's like the only person who really does have the talent to really compete with her. And I think Sabrina Carpenter should watch out. But the thing is, I think that Sabrina's pretty smart, you know? But to me, this also circles back to the point of why she took the hit at Charlie XCX. I really think that the hit that she took at Charlie XCX is rooted in deep jealousy of the fact that Maddie Healy chose one of Charlie's best friends, Gabriette, who is the same kind of brand of cool girl, edgy girl, over Taylor Swift herself. And I think that she has an extreme level of bitterness. And I think that the nastiness and venom that she directed at Charlie in that song is actually displaced rage at Gabriette, because Maddie chose her, and this girl is incredibly male-centered. So I really think that that's what this was all about. And it's gross. It's gross, truly. I feel like this album showed me that she is the worst version of herself that I could ever have thought that she was. And it's really, really, really sad to see. So, in conclusion, the life of a showgirl is reflective of what I would describe of the revealing of a 3-step moral collapse: disillusion, deflection, and domination. Disillusion of her self-identity, because she totally loses herself in men and she isn't really a person. She's just a narcissistic mirror. That's all she is. Any sort of sense of who she is a reflection of the people who she's surrounded by, which is why this album is such a departure from the person who we knew her to be on Folklore and Evermore. Deflection, because she is constantly sees herself as like this eternal victim, and because she's always a victim in her mind, it rationalizes what the next thing, which is domination, her predatory and casually cruel behavior. It's like she hasn't evolved. In fact, she's actually calcified into something much worse and much, much more sinister. And I actually think that that's why so many people are talking about this album, because it is one of the greatest mass slips I have ever seen in public in a very long time. Very, very much a mass slip. And to be honest, I think that this is the beginning of the end. I'm just going to be honest. You know, I made that cancellation series and she did that redemption thing. But sometimes, like, girl, a tiger never changes its stripes, girl. A tiger never changes its stripes. This is the same girl who got canceled back in 2016. I can see why the algorithm is pushing that story that I was telling y'all once again, even though I made that video like 2 weeks ago. But anyway, she's made a decision to choose to be the absolute worst version of herself. And she was proud enough of that and unashamed enough of that to put that on the album. That's who she wants us to know her to be. And I think that we should believe her. If someone shows you who they are, believe them. And that's what I got to say about this foul-ass, nasty album. Bye-bye.
Every time Taylor Swift releases a project, I'm increasingly perplexed as to how popular she is, what she's been able to achieve, and how Swifties are the most delusional bunch of people that I've experienced in America, kind of akin to MAGA. All of you Taylor Swift fans who love Taylor but hate this new album, just know that what this new album sounds like to you is what this album has always sounded like to us. First time, I think, in any Taylor Swift release, I'm seeing a lot of white people come out and critique the album in a way that we all knew was the truth about the kind of music that Taylor Swift makes.
Taylor Swift makes music for people that don't like music. It's always been so plain and vanilla for me, and I'll die on that hill. So
Taylor Swift is handing the conservative agenda on a silver platter to the masses.
Taylor Swift's new album is many things. Unfortunately, good is not one of them.
I am a dark and twisted poet. The corners of my mind, you'll never know it.
Taylor is the pinnacle of what it means to praise white mediocrity. And in America, it is better for you to be mediocre and white and prop that up than it is for white people to aspire to greatness, which is why they have the ability to even open their mouths and compare Taylor Swift to Beyonce, because to them, Taylor is attainable. White people don't want to reach for the stars because they are the status quo in America, right? So when you are told that you are the standard, why would I have to attain this unattainable greatness? Whereas black people, we're taught from birth that in order to even make it in this country, which is true, you have to be 2 to 3 times better than your average white person. So culturally, based on our oppression in this country, black people don't align with mediocrity. And you know, when I call Taylor Swift mediocre, you guys get really upset about that term. Mediocre isn't a bad thing. Majority of the people in the world are average. The majority of the people in America are average. Whether you're white, black, brown, Asian, Hispanic, anything, you're average. But the difference is that we culturally do not align ourselves with mediocrity in the same way that white people do, because you guys are told you are the standard. And if you are the standard, why would you have to be anything else? I knew this moment was going to happen eventually, where people were going to wake up to the fact that every single one of her albums sounds the same, and that she's not even that amazing of a songwriter. It's just that her attainability made her this grandiose thing. Because if it was her songwriting abilities that made her so amazing, I could name you 10 songwriters right now as a songwriter who should be more popular than Taylor Swift. So it's not her songwriting ability that makes you guys love her. It's her mediocrity and how that mediocrity is attainable to you, and it represents who you are. But is the music good? No, guys. It's very bland. It's very vanilla. It's very mayonnaise on white toast on type of white rice. Like, it's not great. And I think the sooner we can become realistic about who and what she represents, then we can understand why she's so big. Is she one of the most popular artists ever to exist? Absolutely. Does that popularity equal her talent? Never.
Taylor Swift has the fame and popularity that she has today mainly for 2 reasons. Number one, she's a mediocre white woman. And she reminds other mediocre white women in J.Lo that not only is mediocre okay, but it can get you very far. And I know what you're going to say, oh my God, but she's an amazing songwriter. Think about it, I'm going to hold your hand with a napkin in between when I say this. She's been writing about the same thing for 20 years. If I were writing about the same thing for 20 years, I should be pretty good at it too. And not only has she been writing the same album with different font for 20 years, but nothing about her has improved. Her dancing is still the same as it was 20 years ago. Again, she's writing about the same thing. She literally has not improved in any way in her career. And why is that? Because she's a mediocre white woman, and y'all will praise her for being a mediocre white woman. She knows she doesn't have to do anything more. Whatever she does, whatever she puts out, y'all are going to buy it. Number two, and I know y'all are not ready for this one, but ready or not, here I come. Y'all still see her as a little girl who was bullied by the big scary black man on the VMA stage in 2009. Now, friendly reminder, multiple things can be true at once. Kanye was dead the fuck wrong for doing that in that moment, and at the very same time, y'all have been infantilizing and coddling this woman since it happened. That's also why y'all feel the need to constantly compare Taylor Swift to Beyonce, because in that moment, Kanye was praising Beyonce over Taylor Swift, and so since that moment, y'all have felt the need to protect Taylor Swift and defend her virtue and prove why she deserved that award and other praises over Beyonce, and have never let Beyonce know a day of peace, even though number one, Beyonce was mortified in that moment and did not want Kanye to do that. And number two, when Beyonce was on the stage, she brought Taylor back on the stage to give her her moment. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk, and if you disagree with me, I could not give a fuck less. Hope this helps. Peace and love. Talk to you later.
Taylor Swift isn't hungry enough to make an album that pushes her creatively. There's a lyric at the end of her new album, Life of a Showgirl, where she's like, oh, like these people are just waiting for me to die, but I'm immortal now. Like, you couldn't get rid of me if you tried. And I heard that lyric and I was like, that is the crux of this album. This is an album made by someone who's no longer hungry. It's made by someone who doesn't have to fight to get the label support, doesn't have to fight to get the fans, doesn't have to like push, like beg, borrow, or steal to put an album out. There's no sense of resistance. There's no pushing against something. Rent isn't due. Rent wasn't due. Mortgage isn't due. Wedding is already paid off. That's what that album is. I don't need to do anything music. I'm a fan. Like, I don't go into listening to her albums looking to fight to pick things apart. And I like a fun pop song. I like a glittery gel pen song. Like, I enjoy that stuff, but the album isn't good. It's an album made by someone who knows that the fans are gonna show up anyway. There was no hunger on that album. That is an album, like, rent isn't due. Rent wasn't due. Mortgage isn't due. Wedding is already paid off. That's what that album is. I don't need to do anything music. But I love Opalite. Opalite I danced around my room too. That was a bop.
The Death of a Showgirl, The Life of a Capitalist. That's what I think this album honestly should be called. I have been a Taylor Swift fan for an incredibly long time, right the way back to debut. I've met her, been to every tour, bought every album. I've been a big fan the whole time. And I'm sure I'm going to get called an absolute hater by some people because I've dared to express an opinion that criticises their love and idol. However, this album to me is incredibly problematic. I've woken up this morning to see that we've already got the dressing room version, the going out for a walk version, the sitting on the toilet version of various different songs. And this comes back to a point that I have been raising that is really, really irking me. For a long time now, Taylor Swift has released various different variants of albums. She has released theatrical releases around the Eras tour, and those have all been optional things. However, more and more in the comment sections at the moment, it seems to be going down the route of course you didn't understand the concept of the album, you didn't go and see the film. Of course you don't understand the concept of the album. You didn't read the poetry across the 6 vinyls. Of course you didn't. You didn't go and listen to the podcast, that Footballers podcast. You didn't tune in and do XYZ. It's starting to become microtransactional. That's what it's becoming. It used to be optional, that if you wanted to understand the concept of the album, you just bought the album. And then anything else enhanced that album. If you wanted to buy a different version and get a couple of extra songs or whatever, or a different colour, then you could do so. But now I feel like we've crossed a line within this fandom that needs to be called out, and the capitalism of it all now, for me, holds greater weight. Because before, it was all just, you know what, if you want to go and buy that, but it's not necessary. But now we've crossed a line into, this is now a microtransaction that you are telling me as fellow fans I need to do in order for me to get the concept. She called this album The Life of a Showgirl. She put Showgirls on the promo. She put Showgirls on the cover. She didn't release a single, and then people pre-ordered the album. It is not a stretch at all for people to have believed that that album was going to contain references to being a showgirl, both sonically and lyrically. That we were perhaps going to see songs like I Can Do It With a Broken Heart or The Lucky One, for example. But instead we got, this is one of the albums of all time, isn't it? You know, whatever it is. But the fact that people are now saying, oh, but to truly understand it, you have to go and see the film. No, I'm not going to go and see the goddamn film. I'm not going to pay for an album and then go and do a microtransaction to go to the cinema to go and watch a film to try and understand the album that I've already paid for. This is not DLC. This is not downloadable content. Do you know what I mean? Like, this is getting obscene at the moment. The fact that it has not even been 24 goddamn hours and there already are like 6 different versions of this album, it's knackering. It's knackering. It's not worthy of that, which brings me on to point 2. The Eras tour was a phenomenal tour that showcased her career for the last 15 years or whatever as an exceptional lyricist and artist. It was a moment in music history. It was a moment in music tour history. It was warranted that there was a film that came out alongside it. She had not earned that with an album. She had earned that with, 10 albums? 11 albums? Like, it was so warranted because there was a decade and a half's worth of material there that had slowly cultivated that respect. This has done nothing to cultivate that respect. She's just gone, I'm going to do a cinema release, and expecting it to be at the same level as the Eras tour without seeming within her organisation to fully recognise and understand why the Eras tour was what it was. It was because we had 15 years, etc., of content to celebrate. This album, we've not even heard it yet, and I'm being asked to go to the cinema. No. No artist, in my opinion, deserves to be put on this kind of a plinth. This is insane to me at this point. It really is insane. And when people criticise anything that I've said, it tends to be, oh my God, you're such a hater. No, baby. No. Grow up. I have been a Taylor Swift fan for an incredibly long time and defended her to the nines for a great amount of things that she has done, including giving so much to charity during the Eras tour and some of her political silence also. I have been the person with my neck on the line for Taylor Swift. Criticism against Taylor Swift does not make a person a fucking hater. We are not in the playground at school. You are not supposed to be in servitude. You are supposed to be a fan. You are not supposed to be licking boots. You are supposed to just be a fan, a consumer. We are her business and we buy product. And if you don't like product, you are allowed to say, I don't like product. That is not being a hater. It is not. I have spent a lot of time on this app before praising her heavily, and now the time has come around for me to say, you know what? This is too fucking much. This album isn't any good. It is not worthy of what it's supposed to be. It's not worthy of a cinema release. It's not worthy of 16 fucking editions, and it certainly isn't worthy of what a lot of fans are saying, which is, in order to understand this, you mandatorily have to go and consume more. You have to buy in more. This is like, she's going to ask me for a subscription in a minute. Do you know what I mean? Like, this is so on the nose. And in a time like this, politically and economically, I think it is completely and utterly tone insensitive. I think that it does not show in any way, shape or form respect to the fandom, who have been fans for an incredibly, incredibly long time, to roll out during this economy and this political time an album full of songs that are all about how big her boyfriend's whatever is, and the fact that she's got $1 million wish list and she wants the entire block to look like him. And I really love caviar, I really love champagne, I really love my friends dripping in Gucci. I get that you're all struggling, but please give me more money. Go and see my cinema release in order to... No. This is not the fantasy that I want to escape into, and I'm not going to. It is really crass. The album is, and I'm just going to objectively say it, it's crap. It's a crap album. It's not good. It really, really isn't good. I have got Taylor Swift tattoos. I've met the girl. I absolutely adore her. She's a phenomenal, phenomenal artist. She's allowed a dud. This is a dud. It is not a good album. It is not good writing. And the fan reaction to immediately defend... You would not defend this album if Katy Perry released it. You simply would not. It is not good. But the immediate reaction is, oh my God, you're such a hater. Excuse me? Do we have class to get back to in 5 minutes? People can criticize something without you automatically losing your mind over it. And it goes to give the reputation to the Taylor Swift fandom of being an unhinged cult. Because it's like, go watch my original video, where I literally do like a 5-minute preamble about how warranted her place in music is before going into a criticism. But apparently that makes me a hater. No. This album has missed so many marks, and so many people are deeply upset with it because it's not good. But there is an expectation that I was to pre-order it without having heard anything from it. And now apparently an expectation that I'm supposed to go out and buy various different versions from fans to understand it. Because, it's all about the secret life behind the curtain. Is it? This could have been called The Life of Anybody. Anybody rich, anyway. No, this messaging isn't coming across. The promo, the album artwork, the name, and then what it is. Oh, but you didn't go listen to the podcast. I'm not going to go and listen to the podcast. Why am I doing homework? Why am I doing this? No, I'm not getting in with these microtransactions. You can if you want, but if she expects me to go out and buy extra things in order to understand a standalone album, she's got another thing coming. And I've been a band since I was 12 years old. Pretty much exclusively. I don't really listen to any other pop music other than her. She's crossed a line for me. And I'm allowed to say, she has crossed a line for me. It's too much. It's too much. It's too much.
This is what privilege looks like. Sold 2.7 million albums in 24 hours. Despite the only thing that we've been hearing about this album is white rage. Her fans saying that she did not eat and it did not do what it was supposed to do. I also want to be clear that her fans are saying that she is politically aligning herself with conservatism based on how she rolled out this album and the messages that come to people throughout the album. Mind you, a lot of why people have loved Taylor Swift is because she's been known to be a feminist and a girl's girl. However, she chose to announce her album on her fiance's podcast, who said that he was honored to play in the NFL for the president. From what I hear, there's even a line in there about wanting to have babies with Travis Kelce and have their entire neighborhood looking like him. A white man. Yet and still, she was able to sell 2.7 million albums in 24 hours. Let me introduce Privilege, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh my God, Taylor Swift, what is it? What is wrong with you? Everyone is complaining about this your new album. It's purely states mediocrity. And to say that she's so racist and people are coming for her is really wild. Right? All I have to say about it is her reflecting Joe also explained why she was so willing to be politically active, because he is politically active. She never wanted to be politically active, but because of Joe, but that's it. I really like the takes on it. Anyways, so she is a white supremacist and she got what she's supposed to get. Her album is pure trash and it's just shameful. It's quite shameful for her at this point in time. I want to see your thoughts in the comments about the whole Taylor Swift stuffs. All right, what do you think about her new album? Do you like it? Did it kill it? Let me say it. Do not forget, it's Global Gist with BJ. I'll see you next time. Bye.